Why it's a bad idea to receive communion in a state of mortal sin. The Eucharist is the greatest of the 7 sacraments. It's the only sacrament that includes Jesus' real physical presence, and receiving it frequently and devoutly is the best way to grow in holiness. Receiving the Eucharist while you're in a state of mortal sin has the opposite effect. You further injure your already seriously wounded soul. Sadly, many people go up to communion without considering their spiritual state. But is that really a big deal? It is, and here are the reasons why. First, you commit a sacrilege. You are guilty of sacrilege when you deal unworthily with holy things. Given that the Eucharist is the most sacred thing on earth, it is a serious offense to profane it. Thus, mortal sin kills charity, which is God's life within us. Think about it. We expel this life in us through mortal sin, and then we presume to receive Christ's sacred body and blood. Second, unworthy reception. According to Catholic teaching, receiving the Eucharist, Holy Communion, in a state of mortal sin is an unworthy reception, and therefore a sin. Third, need for confession. If you are aware of having committed a mortal sin, you should not receive communion until you have confessed your sin and received absolution from a priest in the sacrament of reconciliation, confession. Fourth, importance of self-examination. The Church encourages Catholics to examine their conscience before receiving communion to ensure they are in a state of grace. 6. St. Paul's warning. The Apostle Paul warns in 1 Corinthians that whoever eats the bread or drinks the cup of the Lord in an unworthy manner will be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. 7. Seeking forgiveness. If you have received communion while in a state of mortal sin, seek forgiveness through the sacrament of reconciliation as soon as possible. According to Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 1385, to respond to this invitation to receive Holy Communion, we must prepare ourselves for so great and so holy a moment. Let a man examine himself, and so eat of the bread and drink of the cup. For anyone who eats and drinks without discerning the body, eats and drinks judgment upon himself. Anyone conscious of a grave sin must receive the sacrament of reconciliation before coming to communion.